Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wahara Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, many blessings and salutations, and to the elect, the house of David, the Bayath Dawadah, for whom these epistles are written for in these last days. Shalom to the elect. This article came across my feed, and I took great interest to it, and I wanted to bring it out to the body. And so, without any further ado, let's get into it. This is from the website called Built In. You could check it out. I did a quick Google search, AI taking over jobs, and thought this was pretty edifying. I wanted to play a video a little bit later from Breaking Points. If you want to check that video out, just go to Breaking Points, and the videos on there. You'll see the title. And always, I want to say fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use to YouTube, fair use. We're just reading the Bible, okay, and checking out today's society. All right, it says, is your job AI proof? What to know about AI taking over jobs? And as you already know, there's a big push right now in the white collar sector to overtake those jobs with AI, but pretty soon it's going to be blue collar as well, because I've been doing reporting on this for like at least a couple of years. As you know, I'm a truck driver, and they already have they're also testing out on the road driverless trucks. Okay, so that they can just deliver without having, and so they just have AI doing that. Okay, they already have AI singers. Okay, they already have AI dancers. They have they have everything AI, and pretty much you're just going to be relegated to being in your home, in your smart home. Okay, which AI runs that too, and you're gonna get rations, and that's where it's going. That's exactly where it's going. Okay, and Jake is on a stoop thinking everything's all good. Okay, but the tree's getting cut down. Okay, so it says artificial intelligence is poised to both eliminate and create millions of jobs. Now, I disagree with the latter part. It says take a look at take a look at what jobs are safe from AI and which are at risk. And there's all of them. All of them are at risk. I'm not going to read this entire article, but you get the gist. Okay, so let's read a little bit of it. Summary: it says AI is transforming the workforce, eliminating various jobs while creating new ones. Jobs in customer service, programming, and writing are at risk. So all you brainiac sit in the room for 15 hours, programming and shit, that shit finna go away. You wasted your degree, okay? And all you customer service people, yeah. But AI is also spurring demand for roles like machine learning engineers and AI specialists. Experts suggest upskilling for the evolving job market. Now, what are you going to do with the people who are illiterate, who can't do any of those things, whether for illness, injury, or they might have they might be afflicted with some type of neurological disease. So what are you going to do with them? Well, that's what the purge is for, right? The purge is there to get rid of all the so-called undesirables, right? And that's what they look at you as, goyim. Okay, they look at you as stock, cattle. Okay, useless eaters. Okay, it says artificial intelligence, AI, is transforming the workforce, and not always for better. As companies continue to adopt AI to boost productivity, many are also cutting human jobs and replacing them with tools like ChatGPT, GitHub, Copilot. AI adoption is especially impacting entry-level jobs. So people that are literally like, you have Gen Z and then so-called Gen Alpha, and they're getting ready to enter into the workforce, man, and there ain't no damn job. So they just out here doing fucking TikTok challenges with people holding their phones and shit and then flipping it on them. I guess they call it the flip off trend, or I don't know what the fuck that shit called. But these people ain't got nowhere to go, so they doing fucking TikTok challenges, man, just to fucking survive, man. This place is finished. Okay, it says It says, as early career workers in the most AI exposed jobs have experienced a 13% decline in employment. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know what this country would have been like if they did the millennials like this. Man, we already been post apocalyptic. We be in Mad Max territory by now. We already getting there. We're already in Idiocracy, the movie. Okay, part two. Okay, Babylon the Great. The Empire Strikes Back. Right? We are already in the era where things are gonna go sideways real quick. And if you're not protected by Yahweh Shemal Shai, you're going to be exposed. You're naked out here. And I don't care how many guns or how many weapons you think you got. You ain't got enough. You can have the most in the world and it still ain't enough. You can't defeat Yahweh Shai with it. It says, notably, employment declines are concentrated in occupations where AI is more likely to automate rather than augment. It says human labor. According to McKinsey and Company, generative AI could automate up to 30% of hours worked in the United States and 27% of hours worked in Europe by 2030. We're only 4 years away from that. And by that same year, you so-called white people are supposed to be the minority in America. So you already see where this is going. They're going to chip you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans and those of the other nations that are not the Edomites. And even the Edomites. They're going to chip you all. You're going to become a fucking android, a walking android. Okay. However, AI is creating several new jobs, potentially easing the transition for affected workers. Now, what they're not going to tell you is it's going to take money, okay, to get trained up to get those particular positions. So, what about people with kids or children? What about people with neurological diseases? See, I'm telling you, the purge is a good way to purge yourself of all these problems. What about the homeless? Because America has a huge homeless problem. They're going to do away with a lot of people. So just wrap your head around that. Don't get butthurt. Because look, the prophecies are here to speak. And you must accept them. Whether you accept them or not, they're still going to come. So the best way to do is just get down with Yahweh Shemal Shai if you're an Israelite, because this ain't applying to the entire world, not even all of Israel. And when I'm talking about Israel, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now we got a few factions out here that want to be, rebels. Hey, Yahweh Shai is going to deal with the rebels. Okay, off with your head. Okay, it says. AI is replacing and will continue to replace some jobs, workers in industries like warehouses, by the way. It says ranging from healthcare to agriculture. Now, everybody knows that women populate the healthcare system very well. There's a lot of jobs that are going to be lost. A lot of men are in the warehouses. Those are a lot of jobs that are going to be lost. Amazon already proposed that they're gonna cut 600,000 jobs, and Delta and so on and so forth. Where are all these people gonna do? Where are they gonna go? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the scripture spoke about this. But they mock us, but they don't have any rebuttals against what we're saying. Notice that? This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the nor the years draw nigh, when they shall say, I have no pleasure in them. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders shall cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows are darkened. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, which is martial law, And when the sound of the grinding is low, jobs lost. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of a bird. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. That's right. So everybody who's singing and dancing and doing fucking TikTok challenges are gonna cease in that day, because it's gonna take too much energy, all right, to put that phone up and start doing some TikTok challenges when you ain't ate in 4 weeks. It's gonna be a little difficult. I think you're gonna use that energy a little bit more decisively. That 1 grain of rice you ate 3 weeks ago is what's sustaining you at this point. Okay? The Lord's gonna mock you, people. Don't you understand? He's gonna mock you because you deserve it. And you may listen to videos like this and say, you guys are insane. You guys hate your own people. How could you guys be so hateful? Well, look at the fucking world we live in, first and foremost. And secondly, we're not hateful. We're telling the truth. Truth and hatefulness don't coexist, right? Now, let me take that back. It does, because we can't stand the Edomites and the rest of you other nations because of the position that you put us in as far as going into slavery and until this day. But even then, the world that we're telling you about that's going to come is not going to come with the same restraints and bullshit that you're dealing with right now. The world to come is going to be way better. You're still going to be slaves, right? That's not going to be taken away. You must be ruled over. You need structure, okay? So you're still going to be ruled over. It's just that we're going to have a better kingdom where you're going to be able to live better because you're going to eat better. You're not going to be eating pork, shrimp, crab, You're not going to eat no bottom feeders, no rats, no nothing, no cats, no dogs. You're going to live correctly. And we ain't finna put no fucking chip in you like the so-called white man's doing. We ain't going to do that to you. And eventually, after 1,000 years, you're going to be able to get your land back. And you're going to pay tribute to us. Now, I know it sounds insulting now, but when you're in the process of doing it and you're going to see what we do to the so-called white man through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemal Shah, the Edomites, you're going to see what's going to happen to them, and you're going to want to immediately get down. I'm telling you, you're saying what you won't do now until when everything goes down and you realize there is no other option. Okay? It says, also, when they shall be afraid of which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and the desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Woo! Right. And when all hell breaks loose, trust me when I tell you, you're going to be thankful if you are a woman and children that you have a man of the Lord to protect you. Right now, you got all these single-ass women out here acting like a man is a burden unto them until that day, and they realize, oh shit, I need one for protection. Okay? These jobs are going away, people. Okay? Let's get that. Okay? And you people acting like this is not possible. Nigga, it's happening right now in your lifetime. Isaiah 32:5, it says, the vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. It says, for the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity. Is this not what he's doing with this AI? And he gonna chip all you niggas, by the way. Okay? It says, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. And they're hungry and thirsty for what? Truth, for protection. And Esau is not going to give you neither. He's going to give you a faint idea of what it is, but he's never going to practice it because he's a hypocrite. Okay? He wants the things for himself, but not for you. But he's the ruler of the entire earth. It says, the instruments also of the churl are evil, And he deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh rightly. That's right. So we're speaking rightly and telling him, hey man, you're going into slavery. That's a righteous speech. Obviously he disagrees, but the point remains is that he understands our message. He just doesn't give a fuck because he knows that when Yahweh Shai cracks those clouds, that show is over with. His show, everything he done to this point is over with. He knows, and it's going to be quick too. Okay? That's why he paid trillions of dollars to keep this type of information out of the internet and away from books. Okay? It says, but the liberal deviseth liberal things, and the liberal things shall stand, and that's the elect. It says, rise up, ye women, and this applies to men as well. This ain't just on the women. There's a lot of men and bitch spirits out here. Let's be real about this, okay? Let's be real. The Lord is out here telling you what's going on, and you don't want to pay attention. So there's a lot of men out here that, with that bitch-made spirit, raised up by their single mama, okay? Raised up with nothing but sisters and female cousins and they aunts, and all they know is bitch-made spirit. So this scripture applies to you as well, okay? This is Isaiah 32:9. It says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. That's right. So listen what we're telling you. But we know you're not going to, because you're potentially of the 2/3. And the 2/3 must be cut off and die. This is according to the Bible, not my words. But I'm in the right spirit because I believe these words, okay? It says, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Yes, you heard about the EBT crisis. People was bugging out about that. Well, that's going to progress. That's going to get to housing at some point. Soon, too. Hey, man, this AI shit is not for the faint of heart, man. They taking away these jobs, and now you looking crazy. You got no way to pay your bills. You looking sick out here, and it's going to get to famine at that point. And then it's going to be dog eat dog out here. Survival of the fittest, okay? And if you ain't up with Yahweh Shai Shai, you are in danger, figuratively and literally, okay? It says, tremble ye women that are at ease, right? Because everybody's kicking it right now. Oh yeah, I'm a foundational black American. I ain't got nothing to worry about. My government ain't finna do nothing to me, okay? Tremble ye women that are at ease. Be troubled ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare. Gonna show how naked you really is in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And then literally they gonna strip you naked. And I ain't gotta tell you what they gonna do after that. Okay? It says, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, and for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. That's right. So, hey, you cannot say you weren't warned. You were absolutely warned. You just didn't want to listen. And that's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. You don't have to. Some experts and industry insiders aren't too worried about the rise of AI and remain unimpressed with the technology. Even OpenAI founder Sam Altman believes investors are overexcited about AI, and the hype is simply a matter of being in an AI bubble. So let's jump down a little bit. It says the consensus among many experts is that a number of professions and job tasks will totally be automated in the next 5 to 10 years and beyond. Below are a few roles that are at risk of being taken over by AI in the near future. And I'm just gonna read a few. I might read them all, but I'm not gonna read the statements under it, because then we're gonna get to the video and then we'll get out of here. Okay? What are you gonna do if you can't pay your bills? If you don't have a roof over your head? I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna resort to what somebody in a tough situation is gonna do. whatever it takes. Okay, it says customer service. One customer service representative. What did we just read? Isaiah 32:9. Customer service representative is represented more amongst women. Okay, and sassy men. All right, verse 2, it says car and truck driver. What do they have on the streets of Atlanta right now? That driverless car that goes everywhere is ran by AI. I am a truck driver. I know what's finna come. Okay? I already know. Yahweh Shemal Shai, hey, he puts the spirit on me to see things, to read up on things, to pay attention to things. Okay? So I saw this 3-4 years ago. While I was still driving on the road. All right. It says software engineer and computer programmer, and that's a lot of money. You go to these big schools like Georgia Tech, or you go to these other, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you did all that, and you got all that debt. You got over $100,000 in debt, just to be told in about 5 or 6 years, like before you're able to pay all your student loans off, that you're getting replaced by ChatGPT, man. It's insane, man. Research analyst. They definitely don't need you. AI can research analyze, paralegal. So all you lawyers, they gonna have AI lawyers out here, man. Fuck, I'm paying you for. Factory and warehouse worker, man. That's the average Joe right there. This seems like all the jobs. Financial trader. Hey, listen. They already doing it. They got these programs out here that literally the AI does the trade for you. All you gotta do is copy and paste. Okay? Travel advisor. They've been done away with since the 90s. So I don't know what the hell. I didn't even know it was one. I haven't seen a travel advisor since, what was that? Remember in the early 2000s, y'all, I'm dating myself, but the early 2000, early 10s, yeah, they used to have travel advisors. Now, anyway, content writer, yeah, that goes without saying. Graphic designer, that goes without saying. Data entry clerk, that goes without saying. Jobs, AI, yeah, whatever. Teacher, bullshit. They're gonna have an AI teacher out here. That's bullshit. Nurse, yep, bullshit. Social worker, yep, bullshit. They're gonna send an AI. They're gonna send an AI bot to your house to speak to your kids, man. Okay, and to reprimand you as a parent. Hey, man, this place is over with, man. This is Isaiah 32:14. It says, because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the cities shall be left, the forts and the towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild asses and pastures of flocks. Ooh. That's right. And these people are feeling that shit right now, man. They don't like it. Too bad though. Too bad. Because you forsook the words of Yahweh Shema Shai, and now look at you. Okay? Now look at you. This is Ezekiel 4:13. It says, and the Lord Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. That's right. Their defiled bread. That's what we're eating. We're eating defiled food. And he finna take that away. Okay? It says, then said I, oh Lord Yahweh Shema Shai thy power. Behold, my soul hath not been polluted for from my youth up even till now, have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or it's torn in pieces, neither came there abominable flesh in my mouth. It says, then he said unto me, lo, I have given thee cow's dung for man's dung. Damn. It says, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. So he's saying, nigga, yes I did. Everything. I put the so-called white man in charge of everything. Do you understand what comes with that? Do you understand what really comes with that? It comes with chemtrails that breaks down the body. It comes with GMOs because the so-called white man is all encompassing as far as his rulership. He wants to rule every sector of your life, especially you Israelites. It says, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, that they may want bread and water and be astonished and be astonished one with another and and consume away for their iniquity. What is iniquity? Sin upon sin without recompense. You're not atoning for your sins, so you're just building sins upon sins, and just continually do it recklessly. Okay, so the Heavenly Father's upset with you, and he's pissing on your whole little situation. Okay, okay, and he's making fun of you, which you deserve. Okay, this is Zechariah 7:11. It says, "But they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, and stopped their ears, that they should not hear. Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord Yahweh of hosts have sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great spirit from the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, and that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. But I have scattered them in a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not," starting with the so-called white man. "Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned." And that's what's going to happen when them nukes drop on this place. "For they laid the pleasant land desolate." And that's what's happening. So AI is taking over these jobs, and guess what? People are going to resort to violence. They're going to resort to violence to just survive, man. Okay, and it's all because they were being absolute assholes to the Lord. Okay, this is Ezekiel 7, and I'm gonna play this video. This is Ezekiel 7 and 18. It says, They shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all their heads. They shall cast their silver in the streets," that's their money, "and their gold shall be removed." And look, how is he going to do that? Through the system of being set up, that is the RFID microchip. He's going to take your money away. All right, if you do not obey with his rules, he's going to mark your trip, and he might turn your chip off and just delete you. Okay, it says, "And their gold shall be removed, their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels." So you're going to be out here hungry, thirsty, looking crazy. It just said you're going to eat your bread by weight. Okay, so you're gonna be dining on 2 grains of rice per week, if you lucky enough to get that. While the men of the Lord and the women of the Lord and the children of the Lord are going to be dining and feasting, having banquets, while you out here looking crazy and destitute. All because you fucking made fun. You thought you thought that your joke was funny. Well, guess what? The joke that's coming to you is going to be even funnier, and it's going to be the worst kind of joke, because it's going to be the last funny joke. The one with the last laugh is the one who laughs hardest. Okay? It says, "Because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity." What is iniquity again? Sin upon sin. Notice a theme here. And they're not repenting. So whatever happens to you is what happens to you. It is what it is. You should just accept that. Okay? So let's go ahead and play this video. I said it was going to be a short lesson, but you know how that goes.
to the economy.
Fair use, fair use, fair use. This is from Breaking Points. Fair use, fair use. This is from Breaking Points. If you want to check this video out and other videos, you can come to Breaking Points, and they do some good videos.
The AI revolution in the job force continues. Go and put this up here on the screen. This is a tweet from Senator Bernie Sanders. Quote, "Stop hiring humans," a new billboard says. "The era of AI employees is here." Billboards across the country promoting the replacement of millions of jobs with AI and robotics. Great idea. One simple question: how will those displaced workers survive when there are no jobs or income for them? This is increasingly the question that many companies and young people are going to have to answer. Let's put this up here on the screen. It backs up much of what I have been saying now, is that, quote, more big companies bet they can still grow without hiring. Quote, "It is the corporate gamble of the moment. Can you run a company, increase sales, and juice profits without adding people? American employers are increasingly making the calculation they can keep the size teams flat or shrink them through layoffs without harming their business. Part of that thinking is that AI will be used to pick up the slack and automate more processes. Companies are hesitant to make any moves in an economy that is still uncertain." JP Morgan's chief financial officer told investors recently the bank has now, quote, "a very strong bias against having the reflective response to hire more people for any given need." Multiple other companies last week had sales rose even without adding employees. Financial services companies like Goldman Sachs said that the firm will constrain headcount growth through the end of the year and reduce roles that will be more efficient with AI. Walmart, the nation's private employer, said it would keep headcount roughly flat over the next 3 years, even as sales grow. Multiple other companies that they list now say that they will be reducing their headcount because of AI, and the ROI of AI is increasing, apparently on their conference call mentions of chief financial service officers. By the way, just this morning, huge news out of a couple of major companies. I believe we have one of them on Amazon. Do we have that? No, we don't. Okay, so this morning, Amazon is announcing 30,000 corporate employees will be cut from the company, 14,000 immediately. 10% of the entire white-collar workforce will be axed from the company. By the way, another huge piece of news, arguably, in my opinion, more important, UPS will now cut 48,000 jobs in management and operations. Wow. That is some disclosed. It would cut 20,000 positions. Previously, shares, by the way, are up 12% in pre-market trading. So the fact that
when you fire people,
the fact that UPS is going to fire 48,000 management and operations people shows that, and by the way, that the stock goes up. That actually might be the most AI firing of all time, because now is the time when you don't fire people, because we're going into Christmas season, November and December. That's usually when they surge temporary hiring. They may actually still do that just for the average packers, shippers, delivery people, etc. But the management and operations, they're probably just trying to automate all of those procedures. I mean, it's grim out here. You're cutting 10% of people at Amazon. Again, November, December, the busiest months at the whole company, some 10% of your entire workforce before Christmas. Now you have UPS here being fired, 48,000 people. You have the open acknowledgement. I've talked here about how AI is just like more Excel corporate sludge 90% of the time. Is you no longer have to have a guy who takes minutes for a meeting. It summarizes your stuff. It can help you put PowerPoints together. It can check your commas, your periods, and your footnotes and automate them. That's usually the grunt work that most 22-year-olds get hired in the white-collar workforce. And now all of those are slowly starting to erode. So if you're a new hire out there and you took some $50,000, $60,000 in debt, you're screwed. You're screwed. It's dark.
It is
dark.
It is. Yeah. And I mean, and it's here, right? This is not coming. It's here. You're going to see it through two different modes. One is these, big layoffs like we're seeing with Amazon and UPS. Both of them are, important industry leaders, both within their space and also nationally. Other companies are going to see that and follow suit. Amazon also, we covered last week, New York Times got their hands on internal documents showing that they're planning to get rid of 600,000 blue blue-collar workers over the coming years. With those, because Amazon has such extraordinary churn, they're just planning as people leave because they can no longer take the physical stress and burden of working in an Amazon warehouse or as an Amazon delivery driver. As those people leave, they're just not going to be replaced. And I think we're going to see a lot of that too. And that's what these companies who spoke to the Wall Street Journal, that's what they're indicating is, Susie left. Normally we'd hire to replace Susie. Now we're just not going to. We're just going to allow that sort of churn to lower our overall headcount and sub in AI to make our existing workforce, pick up all the slack for the workers that no longer are here. And yes, of course, all the incentives, all of the Wall Street incentives are to move in that direction. So, I really appreciate Bernie. God bless him. He must have the most incredible genetics because man has not slowed down, still extremely sharp, still absolutely with it in terms of the threats that is facing the American workforce, really the global workforce at this point. And here's the other thing. Let's put C4 up on the screen and then we can get Sagar's pullout from this. But Wall Street Journal also had a piece about the economy that's great for parents, lousy for their grown-up kids. So, if you're someone who was able to get your college education was relatively inexpensive and you at that point in time, you could just get a job out of college, stable career, climb your way up the ladder. Housing was a lot less expensive. Healthcare was a lot less expensive. Now you have assets, now you're in the stock market, your 401k, all those sorts of things are doing good. And meanwhile, your kids who did, trying to follow the same track, go to college, take on the debt, come out of college, and there's nothing for them. The unemployment rate for new college grads is going up and up and up. Now, partly it's because people are worried about a recession and all the tariff insanity and everything that's going on. And partly it is because of AI. And put C3 up on the screen. This was the piece that Sagar highlighted in particular. This chart is, this is really, really dire stuff, in terms of the fulfillment of the population, in terms of the stability of the society as well. You only have 11% of 18 to 29-year-olds who have confidence that they will be able to buy a home. But all of these numbers are actually really bad. So you only have, just over 25% who say they can keep up with expenses. By the way, numbers are not all that much better. For those who are 30 and older, you're under 35%, maybe that's like 33%, who are confident they can just keep up with their expenses. For 18 to 29, you have under 20% who think they can buy a car. Also under 20%, maybe that's around 16%. Who say they could pay an unexpected medical expense. You have under 25% who are confident they could find a good job. 15% say that they're confident they could have enough savings for retirement. And I've been reading this book by Peter Turchin about when societies collapse. And his analysis is that the two major factors that lead to sort of societal breakdown and revolution are decline in material living standards. And in the U.S. context, he looks at the decline in life expectancy.
Yeah, but we've been making this all up. We told you what it was. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Shah. Again, fair use. This is some good content from Breaking Point. So if you want to check it out, go to Breaking Points. And they made a good video here. Okay? They say it's dire, but to us, this is the good news.
Which is, undeniable. And there's this mass disparity, too, between the wealthy and the poor, et cetera, but that we're going backwards in terms of life expectancy. And the other thing is what he calls overproduction of elites. So if you have a large cohort that are going to college, doing the thing, getting their law degrees or getting their MBAs, thinking that they're going to be able to ascend, not into the top echelon, but into some level of I'm going to have a house and have a basic stable life. And the society is failing to deliver that. Those are actually, we think about the working class revolution. Those are the people who traditionally become the radicals and the revolutionaries, actually.
I'm really glad
the frustrated would-be elites.
I wish we had more time. I could go on forever about this, but you are absolutely correct. Something I've always said in some of my arguments with a lot of Marxists and socialists, one of the things that annoys me is they're always like, the working class will rise up. I'm like, what are you telling me about the Russian Revolution? And they're like, oh, well, it was a people's revolution. I'm like, no, it actually was a revolution of the elites. If you read any true biography or history of the Russian Revolution, of Bolshevism, and specifically of Marxist-Leninism, you will discover that the peasant population of Russia was the most supportive of the Tsar. The reason that the Tsar fell was because he lost the entire support of the political echelon, from everyone from the royals to the middle tier to the, the bourgeoisie. Those were the people that rose up against the Tsar and toppled him. The way that the Bolsheviks were able to take power is basically have a bunch of highly educated, former members of the echelon or the gentry class who come in, and that's part of the reason that they target the so-called kulaks at the very beginning in order to subjugate the peasant population. But the point remains, not just in the Russian context, even in the French Revolution, if you look at any true violent overthrow, it's these people specifically. This is why I look at Zoran as a, very, as a consequence of all of this. Republicans are always dunking on, they're like, oh, you have white middle class people. I go, yeah, but you got to understand, if you're 25 years old or 27 and you move to New York, the prototypical profile is somebody who has like $50,000 to $70,000 or whatever, maybe some more, in student debt, was promised a job in X, Y, and Z in white collar workforce. And when the cost of living is where it is, to have a basic life, from health insurance to cost of living to rent, etc., it is so untenable that it leads you to believe that the absolute basics of your needs will ever be met. So what do? You're going to back some radical shit. I think that this is a lot of the case for a lot of Trump people as well. So the point remains that if you do not serve and solve a point for where everyone still believes in upward mobility, and specifically for these older people, if you have no faith that your children will have a better life than you, which, by the way, in that article, that's what it's all about. You shouldn't have any faith that they're going to have a better life than you. And I do feel for a lot of them, because there's a term called Henry, where it's like high income, not rich yet, which is basically what a lot of these people are. They did everything the right way. They have a good job, or whatever, they have a house, etc. And their belief is that their children will do better. So they don't have enough money to like bail their kids out entirely.
Right. They can help them.
They can help them, but there's a big difference being able to buy your kid a house and then, let's say, like put your kid through college, right? That's like literally a multi-million-dollar difference in assets. So the point is that they don't have enough money to do too much about it, but they have just enough to float them for a couple of years.
And guess what? Eventually, it's going to be the haves and the have-nots, man. It's going to be upper poor, lower poor. Hey, shout out to the elder Yashawamba. I appreciate it. I like that. But yeah, it's going to be the have and the have-nots, the poor and the rich. Ain't going to be no middle class no more. That shit is over with. So, hey man, if you want to check out the rest of this video, you can go to Breaking Points, and they make some good video, good content. So with the spirit of, we're gonna continue to prophesy, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, I pray this was edifying. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shema Shai, Ba'ashem Waharakakadash. Shalom to the elect.